All right. So we're doing a YouTube only instant reactions. This way, we're going to be able to definitely do our multiple podcast preview for week
Holy shit.
10. And yeah, so we're going to be jumping right into it. DJ, how do you feel a little bit about some NFL week 9? What's the first thing you want to pop into?
God, what do I want to talk about? Should we talk about Nathan Peterman right away? And the Bills?
Another missed opportunity. If Nathan Peterman is starting in an NFL game, you bet the other team.
I don't even know why, both of us, shy away from it in that game, and we don't touch on it at all. We just go away. But Nathan Peterman's on the field, and we fucked it up. And we just fucked that one up.
He did, and Jordan Howard, I don't know if you're like me, you ended up leaving him on your bench, and he got you 2 touchdowns. I feel like you need to plug him in and play him every single week now.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know what kind of offense they're going to run. So it's weird how it's unpredictable at this point. They'll probably score no points next week.
So I'm hoping that you actually listened to me and when we talked about DFS previewing week 9, because I said, how come we don't talk about Kareem Hunt more often? And guess who just absolutely crushed it? Kareem Hunt, 150 total yards, the receiving touchdown. The guy has been a monster lately. The Chiefs roll and that game goes over. You got to start listening.
Yeah, whatever. What do we got next?
Though another one I wanted to talk about was that Vikings defense. You were kind of you were dogging them for a while there. A franchise best 10 sacks today. Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin combined for 5 of them.
I mean, the Lions didn't even want to block, and Stafford had a chance to make a play at the end of that game, and he pitched it backwards to Kerryon Johnson, and it just went flying, and then they picked it up for a touchdown. So, I don't know. Nothing good. There's nothing good about what I see. I mean, obviously they got a million sacks because Detroit can't. They got a million sacks, and Detroit still had opportunities to win.
They did
get in that game at the end.
Can you even start Matt Stafford right now in fantasy?
No, it's bad.
It's unbelievably bad, man. Just speaking from personal preference or from personal experience here, I started Matt Stafford over Matt Ryan in 2 leagues, and it absolutely killed me. You can't do it anymore.
You're wild for doing that. I would never do that.
Hey, did you happen to see who found the end zone this week?
I mean, lots of guys found end zones.
Who found the end zone? Who hadn't found the end zone for an entire season?
Oh, Julio Jones.
Did you see how much effort it took
he
Julio Jones to get into the end zone?
Yeah.
Holy cow, man. He had to work his ass off to get into the end zone on that play.
He worked so hard.
But it happened, and the funny thing is, it was meaningless. He scored a touchdown, but it wasn't a meaningful touchdown, unless you bet the over, because I hit the over on that touchdown.
DFS-wise, I told everybody to use Calvin Ridley, and then he drops a 40-yard touchdown out of the Chiefs sky. I keep getting those gut feelings. It was Funches, now it's Calvin Ridley. I'm just feeling those gut feelings.
Yeah, that was nice. I think he had 70-some yards in that touchdown.
70 yards in a touchdown, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. Did you get to see much of the Bucks and Panthers game?
Yeah, because we were scoring in it constantly, so it's always on the red zone. This is that shit I was talking about, how the Panthers were going to have to try to slow themselves down. Right. It was true.
Was there an opportunity for Fitzmagic in this game? What ended up happening there?
Turnovers, I think, and just some stupid stuff. But I think they got within a touchdown at one point.
Yeah.
And then Carolina went back down and scored again.
I saw that they got within a touchdown. And what I'm happy most about this game is that was my my DFS stack of the week game. Newton goes for 250. He throws 2 touchdowns. And I stacked him, if you remember, not with a receiver, but with the running back, McCaffrey, who had 80 on the ground, another 80 in through the air, and 2 more touchdowns. That was just an awesome stack. So, yeah, if you listen to that DFS advice, and you were just balling this week.
Big balling, yeah. Good week for that.
What else we got
here? Redskins kind of you already talked about that. They let me down a little bit in that game. Steelers-Ravens. We both, I think, had the Ravens in that game.
We did, yeah. And I didn't get to see a ton of this one, but from what I saw, man, it was the James Conner show again.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had, 7 catches, 150-some yards, another touchdown. They obviously are better with Le'Veon Bell. But, man, Connor's getting the job done. I think Connor's going to end up being the long-term guy.
It almost seemed more like if you watch that game, though, it was like the Ben Roethlisberger game. I swear they were 70% on conversions on third downs.
Really?
They couldn't stop them on third down. The Ravens now stopped the Steelers on third down. They just kept picking it up. It was annoying the shit out of me because I bet the Ravens. Betting went bad for me today.
What I think I'm most happy about that game is it drops the Ravens to 4-5. Hopefully, some of these teams in the AFC can keep winning. I don't want to see the Ravens in the playoffs again. Like, I'm done with that. I don't want that team in there.
No, they won't make the playoffs.
No, they just get in the way.
They won't be allowed. Texans win again.
Yeah, Texans won again. McManus had the wide right field goal, never really had a chance. I was looking, though, and it looked like Demarius caught all 3 of his targets, had like 60 or 70-some yards.
First drive.
Yeah, but Hopkins got the touchdown, another 10 catches, I think it was, for Hopkins. Watson, I would say he cooled down a little bit. I think he had 2 touchdowns today. But, man, that was a game that the Broncos, I think, they really needed this game. You don't want to say that being in Week 9 already. You wouldn't think a must-win. But, man, in that division, the way that the Chiefs are winning, the way the Chargers keep winning, dude, the Broncos needed that game. And to lose it at home against a team like the Texans, who have won a couple games in a row here, to lose it on a missed field goal, that's got to be heartbreaking.
Broncos are never going to make the playoffs anyways. I mean, the coach is terrible. Everything was bad about that. They were kicking a 50-something yarder, and McManus usually makes it, but it's still a long-ass field goal, so it's not like it's on him.
Well, no. But
lots of people were looking at that video. I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but Bill O'Brien was running off, and he said, "Thanks, Vance, you fucking idiot." Bill O'Brien said that as he ran off the field. You could read his lips. It was pretty clear.
That's fantastic. Real quick, I don't know what made me think about it, but the worst game of the day probably was Dolphins-Jets.
Yeah.
There was a touchdown, and it was scored defensively.
And I'm going to try not to talk about this game.
The only piece I want to throw out there is I have tickets to next week's Dolphins game. It's in Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, good luck.
For the love of God, don't make me suffer through another Brock Osweiler game. If Tannehill can't go...
It's going to be suffering anyways.
Put in David Fales. Just give me something other than Brock Osweiler. I never wanted to, as a Dolphins fan, witness Osweiler play a meaningful snap. If I have to pay money to go to a game to watch it, when I get to go to one game every 8 years, and I have to watch Brock Osweiler, that's rock bottom.
Shit happens. What about the Chargers Seahawks? Number 1, that was my 4-unit game that I gave everybody. Number 2, did you see the celebration the Seahawks had?
No.
Because I was dancing with them. That was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
I did not see it.
Oh my God! Have you not been on Twitter?
But I've been on Twitter, but I haven't seen it.
Dude, look that up. I got up out of my chair and started dancing as soon as I saw that.
Nice.
It was incredible.
Dude, the craziest thing about that game was the fact that Seahawks, they stopped the Chargers after their onside kick, so they got the ball back. Chargers went into all-out, like, prevent mode, and at the end, they ended up getting that penalty in the end zone, so they have an untimed down.
Yep.
Russell, like, makes something happen, and the ball just gets tipped at the very end.
Just
by
the tippy finger.
Oh, that game had tie written all over it.
But they had to go for 2.
True. Yeah, that's true. They did lose by 8. But how about Melvin Gordon again, man? 113 on 16 carries.
Yeah, he's good. They're good.
Yeah, Rams Saints lived up to the hype.
I mean, I was telling everybody to bet the over, and then my dumbass forgot to bet the over that game and just bet the Rams. I don't know what I was doing. That game, 90 points? That was an easy over.
1,000 yards, basically.
I didn't even think about it. For some reason, I got so caught up in my head because I lost my first 3 games. I was on fire yesterday with college football. I came in today, lost 3 games, so I just got focused on the actual lines and not the over-unders, and I told everybody to bet the freaking over in this game. It's like, you challenged me, I'm going to bet it, and then I forgot to.
Right. So for the
It was almost over in the first half.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. There was, at halftime, the Rams had 17, and the Saints had 35.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
The first half of this Packers, we're recording at halftime of the Packers-Patriots Sunday night game. I've been doing like quick hitters for every single game that I'm going to put into an article. And I literally said, way too much shit happened in this game for me to put it into a quick hitter. If there's one thing you need to know, it's that Michael Thomas replicated the Joe Horn cell phone end zone celebration.
That was incredible.
Like, the best thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, I wish I had more. Phone. I have him in fantasy, and I wish I had more guys around him this week with the bye week because I'm going to end up losing with Michael Thomas on my team, which is frustrating. I literally had Stafford at quarterback, so.
Yeah, that'll kill you. Dude, we talked about how often Breeze targets Michael Thomas and how many great things come of it. 12 catches on 15 targets, so an unbelievable rate again. A franchise best 211 yards and that 72-yard touchdown.
Just ridiculous.
Just unbelievable. Well, right before we wrap this up, what are you thinking for the second half of Packers and Patriots?
I wish we would have ended that first half better. We should have ran the ball there instead of Rodgers running it there at the end of the half. Gave us a chance to go down and score and tie it up. Good thing is, get the ball going out of half. Defense is playing good, so that's awesome. Keep Aaron Jones involved in this game. They forget about him in lapses, and it's really annoying.
Right.
Because, I mean, on first, second, third, and goal, you got to give him the ball at least 2 of those 3 times there. I don't like Fates ever
no.
in those situations. But, like, he just had an explosive run.
Yeah, you got to give him the ball.
We have to score here. We got to score here right away, coming out, tie it up. Defense continues to play like they are. Rodgers and the Packers have been a second-half scoring team. So I'm all right with where we're at. We're only down 7 with the ball, so we're good.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap this puppy up. That was our millennial version of our instant reactions on YouTube only, but check in during the midweek. We're going to have a DFS preview that's going to be on YouTube and our typical podcast channels. We'll do a DFS preview, and then we'll do our typical against the spread preview as well. So with that, DJ, I don't know what I said. I got to go watch the second half. DJ, send us out.
Bye.